now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.
Arsenal needed a huge win in the title race to take us away from the teams around us. That has been my one criticism so far, that we have dropped points against the teams close to us in the title race. Against Villa, we did just that, and we sent them scampering back to the Midlands with their tails between their legs. This was a huge game, and with the news of Declan Rice not being in the squad and not being available, there was nerves, there was tension, and there was fear about the Arsenal fan base. We went out and we delivered a performance that showed just how strong our squad is and just how well we can attack. Going into this game, we were creating chance after chance. Every show I've done, I've talked about the volume of chances. Go back to the Everton game, the Crystal Palace, Brighton. It was a plethora of chances without goals going into the back of the net. We weren't clinical, we weren't ruthless, and players weren't taking responsibility in front of goal. Against Aston Villa, that changed. Arsenal were ruthless, we were dominant, and we played with verticality and pace, and we played to punish and hurt them. And the two players for me that really drove that were Martin Odegaard and Martin Zubimendi, who were absolutely phenomenal, and of course, Gabriel at the back. But Villa came into this game filled with confidence. I've talked a lot about them on this show. They were a side that have been optimizing everything towards moments in games, and they've been taking those moments through players like Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, Emi Buendia, and as a result, Villa have been massively outperforming their XG. They've got a 17-point overperformance in the Premier League this season, but they are full of confidence. They're very difficult to play against. They're dynamic, they're aggressive, and you look at the teams they've beaten on this run: Tottenham, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, and now it's finally come to an end with a huge 4-1 defeat at the Emirates. This was a game and this was a performance that was coming for both sides. Villa were massively overperforming. Arsenal were massively underperforming in front of goal, and it evened out tonight. That variance we talk about really came home to roost, and Arsenal just absolutely tore Villa apart in the second half. But in the first half, it wasn't all plain sailing. Aston Villa had moments. One came very early on when Saliba knocked it into Gyokeres. He's followed far too easily by Ezri Konsa, who plays the ball into Ollie Watkins, who has a very bad miss that goes wide of the goal. Another opportunity came when Jadon Sancho, again, Arsenal allowed him to go in far too easily, flashed the ball across the goal, and it was William Saliba who made a huge tackle. I'm just going to bring that tackle up because it's one that deserves huge praise. You look at the ball, Sancho's got in behind Nketiah. In my opinion, Nketiah was caught in the wrong side of him. He didn't get back. He was completely lost, and that ball was played far too easily down the line, and Sancho puts an absolutely perfect ball across goal. People will say, this was flagged offside. Why are you focusing on it? The reason being is I don't know if this would have been offside had it gone to VAR, had it have gone in. And you look at Saliba's tackle, ball comes in now. You look at this. This is perfect for Watkins to come running onto. Watkins is attacking the exact space you would want him to, back post, and you just see William Saliba now. That touch just takes it around Watkins. But look where Watkins is attacking. He is getting that ball onto his left foot, hit first time, and Saliba just absolutely takes it away from him. And you can see from his reaction, he knows that was an absolutely glorious chance. And I'm going to give this a bit of focus because I feel that this tackle was game-changing. Even though it was flagged offside, I think the players got a lot of belief from it. We started to pick up the tempo after that. Villa did have a couple of other shots from Watkins, a couple of moments, but ultimately none that were really, really threatening. That was a big turning point in the game. And you look at how the game proceeded. Arsenal, 4 goals, 2.7 XG, 18 shots versus Villa's 9. 6 shots on target. We give up possession today. We weren't obsessed with holding onto the ball, and this was the same against Brighton. Ironically, against Brighton, we had 53% of the ball. On this occasion, Villa had 53% of the ball, but we had the field tilt advantage. We had 72% of field tilt, and Arsenal really, really dominated this game. And it was one of those where the XG is very heavily weighted post 90 for Villa. Look at the first 90 minutes. So XG Philosophy have posted this on Twitter. 2.78 during the 4-0 compared to Villa's 0.72. During added time, Villa managed to generate 2.37 of XG, which is an absolutely insane number and one that we will talk about later. But let's focus on some of the big moments. So early on in this game, Viktor Gyokeres looked more lively. He looked more alert. And it was Leandro Trossard down that left-hand side, as we've seen, playing in Piero Nkapie. Ball comes across. And you look at Gyokeres' movement here. I focused a lot about it on the last game, of Gyokeres standing still, being too static. On this occasion, he waits. He gets himself in between it. You can see he pushes Luka Dean out of the way. Ball comes over. See Lindelof now, but you can see where Gyokeres is. He's getting himself powerfully in between Dean and for the ball to drop from Lindelof. He misses it. Now you look at where Gyokeres heads this ball. This is a glorious chance for a striker. This is exactly what you want. Inside the 6-yard box, the ball dropping with pace on it. Defenders missed it. And if you're able to get that kind of contact on it, the ball really needs to be going back into the net on target at the very least. The header over the bar, but it's one of those, I take optimism from it because he did very well to get that header in, and the movement in the box is good, but still not enough. We need to start seeing him scoring goals. And then not long after that, again, Leandro Trossard, who was absolutely phenomenal in this game. And I'll talk about more when it comes to his goal. But you look at this, just the trickery of Trossard, dropping the shoulder, gets that head up, and just this chip ball. And again, you can see Gyokeres. Once again, I'm going to highlight his movement because I've been so critical of it. Lindelof is moving towards him. On this occasion, Gyokeres has started to go. He's attacking the ball. And now you can see he's getting in front of both centre-backs. He's making that run in front of Konsa. And look where he goes now. You can see this. This is real intent. This is a player that's attacking the ball. And once he missed that first chance, I think it did give him a bit of confidence. And again, you can see this is a brilliant header. He does really well to get round. But again, we need to start seeing these go into the back of the net. But I'm going to take, again, optimism from these because he did a couple of other things after this. One, he got a shot away in the box where he did very well. There were a couple of pieces of link-up play, which again were good. But these chances need to go into the back of the net. But it was showing some intent during the first half where Arsenal weren't the most fluid. However, beginning of the second half, what do we like doing? We like breaking games open with set pieces. And that's exactly what happened. It was Gabriel back in the squad. And you can see the move. Saka gets the ball out for the corner. 47 minutes about to hit the clock. 3 Arsenal players at the back post coming in field. Corner comes in and you can see Gabriel's movement. Here he goes. He's right on top of the keeper. Saliba runs in front of him. Emi Martinez now grabs Gabriel, shoves him forward, comes back. Emi Martinez comes up. You can see him rising. What's he doing? Flat-footed. He tries to catch it, doesn't, bounces off Gabriel and in the back of the net. Ironically, Emi Martinez tried to claim a free kick for this, claiming that he had been fouled, whereas in actual fact, it was Emi Martinez fouling Gabriel. But this was a big moment. It was one of those, we saw in the first half, Arsenal got a free kick. Gabriel straight over to Odegaard, telling him where he wanted the ball. And if in the first half, we did try a couple of balls into the box and they weren't reaching the target. Second half, that changed very quickly. I felt in the first half there was intent there, but poor execution. Second half, that changed drastically. And this ball to be honest, it's a fairly average corner. It's put into an area that without Gabriel, I think most keepers claim with ease. But Gabriel's so big, so powerful, he creates chaos in the box. His mere presence in the box makes people think differently. It's that thing that you've got when you've got a Harry Kane in and around the box. You start defending differently because you've got a player of that quality. Same with Haaland in there. And Gabriel is exactly that from set pieces. Teams just think he's going to score. But that's only his second goal in the Premier League this season. If you believed the media reports, you would think Gabriel was our top scorer and was the only player that actually scores for us. But no, brilliant header, 1-0 up, and it broke the game open. And it didn't take long until we started doing more. And again, I mentioned Odegaard and Zubimendi. They were the players that really dragged us forward. I felt in the first half, Zubimendi was one of our best players. Second half, him and Odegaard together really started linking up well. They really started moving the team forward, and they were our true offensive leaders along with Leandro Trossard. And you look at Zubimendi's goal. It came so early, 51 minutes on the clock, and the movement, it was just a case of Arsenal being aggressive, counter-pressing, showing that intent to go and get a second goal. And this is something that we've been critical of the team for. When we've gone 1-0 up, we haven't always gone in for the kill. Today, we did just that. And you look at Arsenal here. Trossard goes forward. Gyokeres closes down one passing angle. And here comes Zubimendi. He goes in. He's the one stepping forward. He doesn't get it. Merino and Odegaard come in to close him down, and it's Odegaard wins the ball. He gets it, nicks it off Sancho, and he's away. Now, straight away, there's Arsenal players going forward. Viktor Gyokeres turns and he starts running forward. And you can see Zubimendi straight away. He's going forward. Saka's in there. Trossard out left. Merino's joining the attack. You can see Timber joining it. Odegaard gets his head up. And Odegaard has been criticised heavily for his play in and around zone 14 and that central access that apparently he doesn't give the team. But when he's got runners, he's one of the best killers in this area. And he has this little check back, and this pass is perfect. Zubimendi's making the run through, and you can see Viktor Gyokeres also making the run. We've two players coming through, pushing that Villa last line back and giving Odegaard someone to aim for. And look at this finish. This is absolutely delicious. But what's great about it is Gyokeres is coming through. If Zubimendi taps that to one side, Gyokeres has a tap in and Arsenal go 2-0 up. Instead, he takes it by himself. Absolutely brilliant finish straight past Emi Martinez. But it's one of those, again, it showed the intent. Verticality in the team. We were moving the ball forward, and Villa were doing that in the first half. They were getting it, and everything went in straight lines forward. In the second half, that's what Arsenal were doing with Odegaard and Zubimendi. We were moving it forward with purpose, pace, and direction. And that was really, really hurting Aston Villa. And at 2-0, again, we didn't stop. We didn't want to give up anything to this Villa team. And we saw that with Odegaard. He had a shot at 2-0 in the second half. Again, counter-pressing. This time, it's Zubimendi. And he comes in, wins it. Odegaard, look at this control, straight off his chest, little header. Zubimendi pops it in over the top, and it's Mikel Merino. But look at the number of players Arsenal have forward. Merino's joining in. Odegaard's sitting there, and he gets it back from Merino. Lovely touch, opens his body, and now you can see the number of players in and around the box. And what I love about Gyokeres in this position is, again, he's attacking the box. He's going towards where the ball might break. Bukayo Saka is making a run, looking for that pass from Martin Odegaard. There's options, and that's something we don't always have. We don't always counter-press and turn those high turnovers into a threat in front of goal. And Odegaard gets the ball here. I think this is a brilliant shot, but look at Gyokeres. Look where he's attacking. He's attacking the area with the highest possibility for that ball to drop. Just go back to where the ball's saved. Look at Gyokeres now. He's waiting for the rebound. He's on his toes. He's coming in, and he's there if that ball drops, and it doesn't. But on another day, that ball will fall to him. And again, I have to be consistent. I was criticizing him after the Brighton game for these kinds of things. In this game, he came out and he did the exact things that I was hoping he would do. Obviously, I hope that he would have put the ball into the back of the net, but his movement, his intent, and his ability on his toes was there. And on another day, that ball will drop to him. It will go into the back of the net, and his goal numbers will increase. It just feels at the minute that Viktor Gyokeres needs a goal. But then Arsenal really killed Villa with the third goal. And this was the point, a goal that I felt that we needed, because Villa are always a threat on the counter. And you look at how it came. Nketiah out to Martin Odegaard. But again, look at the number of players Arsenal have in the box. Look at the attacking intent that we've got. Ball comes out, and it's Odegaard. Lovely cross into the box. And now this is where the controversy came. Was Saka offside? VAR showed it wasn't, but the goal was ruled offside initially. And it comes in, 3 Arsenal players in and around the box, 2 coming to attack this ball, and it just goes over the head of Gyokeres, and Saka makes a mess of his header, if we're being completely honest. Ball falls, but he does very well to come back and try to win it, because him trying to win that ball and him not giving up on it meant that the Villa player has a poor touch here. It falls out to Jurriën Timber, and he cuts inside. I think he's cutting inside to take a shot himself. But either way, it's an excellent Cruyff turn. It falls to Trossard. And I talked about Odegaard's technique for his goal against Brighton. Look at Trossard's technique here. This is exactly, again, how you would coach someone to shoot from this distance. Again, it's head over the ball, knees in the right place, his shoulders are set, and he's able to get his foot around the ball very quickly. It falls first time into the back of the net. And it's not the first time Emi Martinez has had to watch the ball fly past him at the Emirates after him starting the game by making a huge mistake against us. He's a bang average keeper that has big moments from penalties, and it massively inflates his reputation. He's a keeper that suits Aston Villa. He would have been fine at Man United. He is not the top keeper that he thinks he is, or the trophy cabinet chose him to be. But these goals were huge, and they just really give us that confidence. And after that, Odegaard had a shot that went just over. There were other players shooting in and around the box. We were just so dominant in our shots. But I want to go back to Martin Odegaard because I thought he was absolutely phenomenal in this game. The Athletic put this graphic out. Total passes, he ranked third with 50 passes. He was first for progressive passes with 6. Total carries, he had 18 carries, which isn't something we normally associate with Martin Odegaard, putting him in 5th place. And when you look at some of the players on the pitch, Morgan Rogers, Emi Buendia, Bukayo Saka, Jurrien Timber, these are all carriers. And Martin Odegaard is one of the players that stood out for carries in this game. And total progressive carries, he finished 3rd with 2 of them. Defensive actions, he was actually 2nd with 14. This was a game that he was really, really strong in the tackle. He won his duels and he really got involved. He was the leader that we needed tonight. And alongside him, Martin Zubimendi was just absolutely incredible. And you look at involvements in attacking sequences, 8 of them. He ranked first place for that. Just a brilliant performance. And you look at his pass map, look at the verticality in it. He's getting it where he's popping it around. He's moving it into areas that could really hurt Aston Villa. And that was the key for Arsenal. He really made sure his passes matter. Everything had thought, purpose, the right weight, and it was just a brilliant all-round performance. And he couldn't have done that without Zubimendi beside him, who was absolutely fantastic. And if you look at Zubimendi, look at his touch map, it's all over the park. And he played almost the 3 of them, almost like a triple pivot between Merino, Rice, or Odegaard and Zubimendi, with in the second half, Zubimendi and Odegaard really operating in a double and getting one going forward, one sitting back. And it really worked for Arsenal today without Declan Rice. Mikel Merino was very lucky to stay on the pitch. He could have been sent off for a second yellow, and he had a really bad first half. Second half, he did grow into it a bit more, but I felt he stayed on the pitch too long. And the inclusion of Norgard or Eza would have given Zubimendi and Wright and Odegaard someone different to work with, and something just a bit different, because Merino wasn't quite at the races in this game. But Zubimendi's pass map was equally impressive. You look where it goes. He had 1 less pass than Martin Odegaard with a 92% accuracy. Just a really, really good performance. He was moving the ball all around. He was less vertical in this game than Odegaard was, because he allowed Odegaard to play those more 10-like passes, and he aided everything he needed. And he was a player that was just sharp, tenacious, and did exactly what we want him to do. And that's what we know we can get from Zubimendi. I thought this was his best performance for maybe a month, and it was one that he needed. Without Declan Rice, we really needed him to step up. We needed Odegaard to step up, and they both did just that. But then the big moment of the game came when Gabriel Jesus got his goal, because it was an absolute screamer and one of the picks of the bunch. And you look at how deep it starts. People talk about Arsenal's deep build-up. At this point, Gabriel's gone off, which hopefully looks like a load management thing. He didn't appear to go off because of an injury, and he appeared to be walking okay at full time. However, Nketiah went into centre-back, and I will once again say, can you please change your studs? You passed up a big chance early on in the game, and you slipped in the first half, passed up a big chance in the second half that could have put us 2, possibly 3-0 up. There's something with Nketiah. He needs to stop slipping. But credit where it's due in this occasion, does well. Ball comes into him, and this is a lovely pass over the top. Ball comes in, and again, it's Martin Odegaard. Look at where he receives it, and look at how quickly he gets it out. Because again, people talk about Odegaard taking those extra 2 or 3 touches that he doesn't need. In this game, he didn't. And these are things that Odegaard has rightly been criticised for, but he's addressing them, and he addressed them against Brighton as well. Ball comes across, and it's Zubimendi. And this is tenacious play because there's a tackle flying in, and we know Zubimendi's brave. We know he's strong, pops it inside, and he wins that ball first. In it goes to Trossard, who, again, brilliant game. Trossard keeps running, actually, and Zubimendi plays it forward to him. You look at where Arsenal are going now. Villa have 3 players back, 1 chasing back, and Arsenal have got 5 players joining the attack as well. You look at it in total, after Trossard, we've got 6 players going forward against Villa's 4, actually. Arsenal were really, really going for the kill at this point. And when Trossard gets forward, again, Jesus is dropping into a position to receive. Martin Odegaard is dropping into a position. He's really attacking the edge of the box. And you can see where Jurriën Timber's going. When he plays the pass into Gabriel Jesus, now look at the options Jesus has. The minute he gets that ball out of his body, he's got a pass to Martin Odegaard, who's got Timber beside him, chooses not to use it, and you can see why. Emi Martinez rooted to his spot, and that ball flies into exactly the same place it did with Leandro Trossard's shot. But I just want to go back a second and highlight this point. When Zubimendi won the ball, how many Arsenal players were flooding forward because we wanted to go and kill this game? This is the thing that we've all been critical of. It's go and grab it, go and add to the goal difference, go and make sure we're getting that confidence in a game. And that's exactly what we did. At times we dig too much into the details. We look at the numbers and we look at all the things that make a performance great. But goals win games. Goals are ultimately how teams are judged. They're ultimately how titles are decided. And at times, whilst we want to praise the XG, we want to praise the build-up, the chance creation, ultimately it's about putting the ball in the back of the net. And at this point, this graphic, this freeze frame to me shows a team filled with confidence that wanted to go and win this game by a big margin. And that's exactly what we did. And it was so impressive to me because it's exactly what we've been wanting. It's what we've been calling out for. And it was just how quickly we moved the ball. And whenever we went 4-0 up, we dropped deep. That was a big problem because Villa ended up building the chances that I showed in that XG graphic from XG Philosophy, and they got the goal late on. But I'm not going to show the clip of the goal. It was per goal for us to concede, but I am going to show a clip of David Raya's save because against Brighton, he saved us. Absolutely huge one. But again, this is the second time someone's managed to get a shot across, hit the post, and it came out. Against Brighton, it fell into an area where it couldn't be defended. You look at it this time. Look at where this ball is. This is strikers absolutely favoured for this. Raya has absolutely no hope. And you look at how he saves it. It's with his elbow. He manages to get his elbow into his body and just almost hug that ball. Falls into his feet, and then he pushes it away with his left hand. And McGinn has no chance of getting the ball. It's completely out of sight. But these things are examples of why David Raya is so good and so important for us. He had a brilliant game as a sweeper keeper today. His distribution was absolutely phenomenal at the back for Arsenal. His collection from corners, everything he did was top class. And then he made that save. And it was one that should have led to a clean sheet. But again, we dropped too deep. We didn't need to. We needed to just hold on to the ball. And this is something that Arsenal need to learn. When we retreat and we become passive to see out a game, we don't end up keeping a clean sheet. And that's a problem, especially in games where there's a low goal advantage. Today, we had a 4-goal lead. It didn't matter. Arsenal went out, battered Villa, and go top of the league by 5 points. Hopefully, this leads to more and more confidence because once again, it was a game where we had a huge number of shots and we battered the opposition. I'm just going to bring the graphic up again. The number of shots, 18 shots. We had 24 shots against Brighton. That's a huge number of shots. And this was an example of how good we are from an attacking sense. We've also got Kai Havertz back. We've got Jesus back. We've got Madueke on the bench. Eze didn't even feature today. We have a huge wealth of attacking talent on the bench, and we're starting to manage the squad more effectively. The reports suggest that Declan Rice will be back for the Bournemouth game. Let's wait and see about Calafiori. Hopefully not too bad, but you never know. Ben White back on the pitch again. Really good to see him involved very much from the minute he came on, and a huge win for Arsenal overall. But please give me your thoughts. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with my analysis? Is this a game where verticality, pressure, pace, and our ability to move the ball forward and show ruthlessness really won us this? Or do you have some worries about some of the defensive instability that you saw? Give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Does this make us favourites for the title? How do we deal with this now going forward? Do you think this will put us on a big win going forward? Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please keep coming back for more. Have a great day. See you soon.
You're now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.